Hey guys, good morning. I'm going to shift my camera over a little more. There, I like that better. Good morning. So we're going to do some shorter and simpler lessons since we're down to the end and it's more practical information. So these are places where you're using the different type of math skills that you've been learning in the past several years. So today's lesson is 163 on installment buying, and this is anything from credit cards, homes. No one usually plunks down the full amount for a home. You pay installments, cars, any large purchase, a boat, things like that. So installment buying, we're going to go over the facts together, and then we're going to do the word problems together as well. So we're on page 293 and 294. So starting with the facts, if I can pull this over here. Number one, installment buying is buying on time. Now that doesn't mean you are on time or late, it means you're buying over time. It's used so that a customer can make small payments at regular intervals instead of one large payment at the time of purchase. Anytime you purchase a vehicle or home, not many people can afford to put all of that money in one big payment. So they do it over time in regular intervals, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly, sometimes weekly, depending on how much you're borrowing, how much you are paying. All right, so number two, the finance charge is the interest and the service charge paid for the use of the installment plan. And that's how these companies make money. You don't just buy a car and pay Honda the money. You also take out a loan for the bank and pay them back in an installment plan. That's what your car payment is. So your finance charge is your interest plus usually a fee or a charge for being able to pay it over time instead of all at once. Department stores may have a finance charge of 18% per year or 1.5% per month. Some might have it higher. So if you have like a department store card that you pay something on, sometimes they charge you something for the ability to do that on top of your interest. Number three, most stores and credit card companies allow the customer to pay the entire bill at the due date with no finance charge. So if you use a credit card in a store, when that bill comes due, if you pay it all at once, let's say the next month, okay, the first time they bill you for it, then you don't have to pay a finance charge. So you get a short time to basically have borrowed that money to make your purchase, and then you pay it there when you get your first bill, and they won't charge you interest. It's to encourage people to use their, their services and build up good credit. Some stores have a 90-day plan where the customer is not charged a finance charge if the bill is paid within 90 days. A lot of times places like furniture stores, mattress stores, they'll do things like that to try to get customers in, and they'll have offers like 90 days, no interest. However, notice the next point, if the account is not paid in full at the end of the 90 days, then the interest will be charged from the date of purchase. So let's say you purchase a mattress and you put it on the store charge, which is store credit, and you agree to pay the full amount in 90 days, no interest. If you don't, what happens is once that 90 days is passed, you can still make monthly payments. However, now they're going to add in all that interest from over that 90-day period or that 3-month period, and you have to pay that as well. All right, so there's an advantage, but there's also a repercussion if you don't follow through with their offer. So number four, usually the interest is calculated according to the balance or the amount the customer still owes. Most stores and credit card companies have a minimum amount that can be paid each month. So you can pay as much as you want, but you can't pay just as little as you want. They usually have minimum payment due, and you have to pay at the very least that amount, although you could choose to pay more. Okay. The wise customer avoids the finance charge by charging only as much as he can pay in full. So that's a good way to use credit cards and build up good credit in the financial standing and the way of things as you go and make larger purchases, they look at your credit history and say, you know what, this person only charges on their credit card what they can pay the next month. They don't accrue any interest. They're making good and wise financial decisions. So they're not very risky as far as someone who would be a good person to loan money to. Number 5, if necessary to use the installment plan, be sure your payments are affordable. All right, you don't go out and get the Tesla sports car if you cannot afford their ginormous monthly payment. That would be very foolish. Okay. Also, be sure the payment is made on time. They do charge you extra for that. You would have to pay late fees. Now, if for some unexpected reason, such as a serious illness, the payment cannot be made, usually if you contact the company to whom this money is owed and you ask for an extension, if this isn't something that occurs frequently, it's just there's been a major illness or a death in the family, oftentimes companies are willing to work with you as long as you contact them. All right, so how does installment buying work? If you look at the example, Scott Cantrell bought a car that cost $16,900. He put $5,000 down. That means he paid $5,000 right up front. That's his down payment, saying, here, I'm putting this much money in. I'm showing you I'm clearly invested. And then he agreed to pay $350 each month for the next 4 years. A lot of times when you purchase a car, it's done in 5-year plans or shorter. All right, so he did it for 4 years. How much interest did he pay? Well, he paid $350 a month each month for the next 4 years. If you notice next to it, you've got $350 times 48, because that's how many months are in 4 years. So we know he's paying $16,800 in his payments. Okay. He also already paid $5,000. So if you look at the next section, they're adding that $5,000 to what he's paying for the 48 months. So he's got $21,800 that he's paying, $350 a month over 4 years, plus the $5,000 down. That's where we get the $21,800. Now we subtract that from the original cost of that vehicle. That vehicle did not cost $21,800. Okay, that's what he's paying, but the vehicle costs $16,900. So when we subtract it, we figure out that the amount that he's paying in order to be able to pay off the car in 4 years and not just in one big amount, he's paying $4,900 in interest. So sometimes people have to sit there and understand what their rate would be and what they would be paying to see if that's valuable option for them, and how much interest they want to pay. The longer you hold out that loan or the longer you make your payments, the more interest you would pay. All right, so for class practice, I'm going to stand up and we're going to do these together on the board so you can understand the different ways that we use this type of information, whether we're figuring out the total spent or just the interest. Each question is asking us for different information. So starting with A, notice we've got Grace Allen borrowed $100 from a loan company for 12 months. All right, she signed a note to repay the loan at $10 per month. So how much interest did she have to pay? Okay. So we know she borrowed $100. But it also tells us that she signed to repay it at $10 a month for 12 months. So we know that is $120, right? $10 a month. Okay, that slash means per. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I might need to angle this down a little. All right, that should cut out the glare. So $10 a month at 12 months, there we go. So she's paying $120 for something that originally cost $100. How much interest is she paying? Well, you just subtract. Okay, $20 in interest is what she is paying. Yes, the item costs this, but for the advantage of having to only pay $10 a month, here's what they're charging her. Okay, so that's problem A. Let's look at B. Susan Fairbanks bought a used car that totaled $11,320. She paid $2,500 down. She agreed to pay the balance in equal monthly installments for 36 months, or 3 years. How much did she pay each month? Okay. Well, we know it cost $11,320. And we know she paid right away $2,500. Okay. So that's not part of her monthly payments. That's what she's paying right now. Okay. So we subtract to figure out what she is putting on the payment plan. Okay. All right, this is not our answer, but this is what we're using to find our answer. So here was the cost of the used vehicle. This is how much she paid up front. This is how much she's going to be paying off in installments. Now notice it says she's doing this for 36 months. So we do 8,820 divided by 36. All right, so it's not going to go in here. It will go in here twice. 2 times 36 is 72. 7, bring it down. 5, 50 plus 30 would be too much, so let's try 4. 4 times 6. 4 times 3 plus 2. Here we go. All right, 12 minus 4 is 8. 5 minus 4 is 1. Bring down the 0. All right, this one would be 5. 5 times 6. 5 times 3 plus 3. There we go. Okay. So what this does is this tells us the amount she'll be paying each month. Okay, so here was the original cost of the vehicle. She put this much down. She's going to pay the rest off over 3 years, 36 months. So we divide it by how many months, and that tells us her monthly payment per month. All right, moving on to C. I'm going to erase this here. All right, problem C, Nathan Dobbs has a credit line. Okay, that means he's got this much available credit. The maximum amount that he would be able to charge would be $3,500. He doesn't have to, but that's the limit that he can have charged at one time. His present balance is $1,683.14. So how much could he charge without exceeding, going over, his credit line? So we've got the $3,500. The balance that he owes already is $1,683.14. All right, so I'm going to add 2 zeros here. So if we want to know how much he could charge without going over, we're going to have to subtract. All right, so 500, I'm going to make 499 to put 1 here and borrow. So 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 1 is 8, 9 minus 3 is 6, 9 minus 8, 1, borrow again, 14 minus 6 is 8, and 2 minus 1. Okay. This is the amount that he still has available to borrow. That's how much credit he has left without going over his credit limit, which is the maximum that he could borrow. All right, problem D. Andrew Hadley bought a racing bike for $450 plus a 7.5% sales tax. He paid $100 down and agreed to pay $75 per month for the next 6 months. How much interest did he have to pay? Well, first let's figure out his total that he had to pay. He's paying $450 plus 7.5% sales tax. Now, if you remember when we were doing this, he's paying 100% plus 7.5% sales tax. So that would be let's see, how do I want to do this? 1.075. So I'm going to put this up here. It's just trying to figure out where I wanted to lie my line my digits up, because he's paying 100%, which is 1 of the 450, plus 7.5% sales tax, which we know 7.5%, 7.5%, move it over 0.075. All right, so that's on top of the 450. So let's figure out the total amount he owes. All right, so the first set is all zeros. All right, 5 times 5, 5 times 7 plus 2, 5 times 0 plus 3, and 5 times 1. Now times the 4. 4 times 5, 4 times 7 plus 2, 4 times 0 plus 3, and 4 times 1. Okay. So here we go. Nice, easy numbers to add. We do need to remember that it's 3 decimal places, 2, 3. But when we're writing money, we write it to the nearest cent. So he's paying total $483.75. We don't put the 0 in there or any number that would be here. We always round it to the nearest cent because it's money. Now it says he paid $100 down. Okay, so right up front, and I know you could do this part in your head, but we are showing where we got this information and keeping track of what we've done so we know that we're solving it accurately. Now he agrees to pay $75 per month for the next 6 months. So we're going to put this on pause for a second and figure out how much, this is the total, how much is he going to pay in 6 months. So 6 times 5, 6 times 7 plus 3. All right, so we're back at 450. He's already paid 100 down though. 483 was the cost. Okay, even though the original price is this, he has to pay tax. So here's what he's paying over 6 months. Here's what he has to pay over the 6 months. So we find out how much interest he's paying by subtracting the actual cost plus tax from the amount that he's paying each month. All right, 500, I'm going to borrow all together and make that a 499. All right, you can do it one at a time if you like. 10 minus 5, 9 minus 7, 9 minus 3, and 14 minus 8. Oops, that's not a 5. That was all to figure out how much interest he's paying. He's paying $483.75 total. He has no choice on that. That's this plus tax. All right. He puts 100 down. Now, in order to be able to pay this off in 6 months, instead of paying all 483 at once, he's going to have to pay a little extra. So if he's doing $75 a month for 6 months, minus the amount that he's paying to be able to pay off, he's paying to be able to pay off. It's true. It sounds weird, but it makes sense. There's your interest amount. Okay. All right, problem E. They keep choosing some interesting names. So now we've got Benjamin Wiggins. I actually had a Professor Wiggins as a history teacher in college. All right, so we've got Benjamin Wiggins has 4 credit cards on which he has these balances: $3,746.18, $987.93, $2,946.29, and then $5,384. How much does he owe to the credit card companies? We are not going to do that together because that's just simply asking for a total. And I know that you can do that. So you're going to do that right now. Go ahead and pause and then we'll check the answer. All right, if you added correctly, if you're not done, don't be listening. Go ahead and finish working through. But you should have found out that he owes $12,684.24. By the way, that's not a good amount to owe credit card companies and be that far in debt. All right. F, Catherine Bush was charged 1.5% monthly interest on her credit card balance of $4,354. She made a payment of $150 and she did not charge any new items. How much interest was she charged? Okay, and how much is her new balance? All right, so let's figure out how much interest, not in charge, 4,354 times 1.5% interest. So 0.015. Remember, when you are changing a percent to a decimal, this would have been 1.5%, but as a decimal, we'd have to move it over 2 places. All right, so this is to figure out the first answer because it says how much interest was she charged. So here we go, 5 times 4, 5 times 5 plus 2, 5 times 3 plus 2, and 5 times 4 plus 1. 1 times 4, 5, 3, 4, and I really don't have to multiply by all those zeros. All right, so let's add 13, 5, and 6. All right, 3 decimal points, so we're going to round $65.31. Since we have 2 pieces of information, we want to make sure that this is her interest. Okay, so this amount she's charged interest on, so she now has to pay $65.31 interest. Now the next question says, how much is her new balance? Well, we have 4,354 plus 65.31. All right, so we add those together. But she made a payment of $150. Make sure you are lining it up correctly. Okay, we don't put the 1 here, the 5 here, and the next 0 there. So $150. So when we subtract her new balance, it's 5. All right. New balance, again, not like the sneaker. Okay, so we had to figure out the amount of interest that she was charged. That was added into the balance. Okay, the interest is charged on top of that. And then she made a payment, leaving her with $4,269.31. I'm trying to read it backwards on the screen. All right, so that's installment buying. Okay, and that's something that's extremely useful as you become older and you start making purchases and financial decisions. On the back, you're going to complete this side except for number 4 and 5. We're not going to do those because that's part of the information we didn't get from this homebound instruction. Section 2, you are finding the simple interest. Notice A is at 6 months, not 6 years. B, nice and easy because we've got 1 year. C is for 2 months, not 2 years. So watch out when you are doing time. Remember how we did it when we did it in months. You're going to have a fraction. Section 3 is solving for X. Remember on A, cross multiply where you can, and then divide by that number that's left. That's going to give you the value for X. For B and D, solve by showing your steps. What are you doing each time? And then C, remember that anything over a number, it's just showing division. Okay, how do we undo division? That's where you're going to be able to solve. All right, and then section 6 is just finding the answer. You're finding percentages for A, B, and C. D, it's asking 16 is what percent of 28? So that's where you have to make it a fraction and simplify. And then it does ask you to round to the nearest whole percent. All right. And then E, 25 is 20% of what number? So remember, we're still changing that percent to a decimal, but now we're dividing by the percent because we're trying to find the original number. So 25 divided by 20% will get you your original number. Just don't forget to move that decimal point. And that's it for today. All right, so I hope you're having a great day. And I know you are excited like I am that now that this lesson is done, you will only have 3 more left as of tomorrow. So have a good day, and I'll see you later.